Okay, let's unpack this. If you've been online at all recently, you've definitely seen them.
Oh, yeah.
These incredible, almost unreal clips from the new Sora 2.
Yeah, stunning stuff, cinematic.
And the reaction online, it was, well, predictable, right? All over.
Totally. Everything from, like, slop feed Shoggoth, which is quite the nickname,
Yeah.
to people hailing it as, a genuine step toward generalist AI.
Exactly that spectrum. So the mission today for you listening is really to cut through all that hype,
Right.
that noise, and focus on what's actually going on under the hood and strategically.
Is Sora 2 like a real philosophical leap, a jump towards AGI?
Or is it maybe the most sophisticated data-hungry tool we've seen yet? Designed for generation, sure, but maybe also designed to just grab a huge chunk of the market.
That's the core tension, isn't it? And that's what we need to figure out.
Yeah, and we've pulled together a lot of material, not just the demos. We're looking at the tech itself, the 2 versions they actually released.
Oh.
The social media app they're building around it, which is a massive strategic move. A moat, really.
Definitely a mo play.
And then balancing that against what else is happening. Competitors like Google's V3, Anthropic's new Claude model.
Claude 4.5 Sonnet, yeah.
And even stuff that seems totally different, like the physical science work at Periodic Labs.
Right, the real world stuff.
So the goal really is finding those specific details, the ones that tell us where AI video actually is right now and, what the business game plan looks like.
Because the answer AGI, or just brilliant engineering, it's probably hidden in those details. Implementation, cost, business choices.
Okay, let's dive into the tech first.
Yeah.
Right, so first detail. And this one kind of got lost in all the excitement, didn't it?
It really did.
Those amazing videos, the ones that just look impossibly good, physics-defying, super detailed.
Ones went viral.
Yeah, exactly. Were those actually made with the Sora 2 that, regular folks will get access to eventually?
That's the million-dollar question, maybe literally. Yeah. Because OpenAI, as we saw in the docs, they quietly released 2 versions.
2 distinct models.
Yep. There's the standard Sora 2,
mm-hmm.
and then there's this experimental, clearly higher quality version they're calling Sora 2 Pro.
Sora 2 Pro. And that one powered the initial gallery stuff, the really jaw-dropping examples.
Seems very likely. The Pro version was definitely the star of that initial Sora.com showcase, and they're promising it for the app, too.
So right away, there's this potential, expectation gap brewing.
Could be.
If the absolute best demos, the ones that made everyone go, wow, were mostly from the Pro version.
Which probably means, what, more parameters?
Mm-hmm.
Bigger context window for keeping things consistent? Yeah. Maybe trained on cleaner data?
Right, some kind of advantage.
Yeah.
Then the standard Sora 2 experience, the one most subscribers will get first, It might feel different, noticeably different maybe.
And look, that gap, it's probably not just like a marketing slip-up. It points directly to the brutal economics of this stuff.
Your cost.
The sheer, unbelievable cost of running these models. Making even one high-quality 60-second video clip, especially with, say, complex camera moves or objects needing to stay consistent.
That's a huge amount of computation, right? Inference load, they call it.
It's enormous. And that cost doesn't go away. So if OpenAI wants to actually roll this out widely and, eventually make money.
Which they obviously do.
They can't just give everyone the absolute top-tier, most expensive-to-run version for cheap.
Yeah.
It doesn't scale financially.
So the Pro version is like the bleeding edge, the show car.
Exactly. It shows what's possible.
Yeah.
But the standard version, that's almost certainly the necessary compromise. The one they have to offer to make the whole thing work economically, to scale it without going broke on cloud compute bills.
It's the cost-saving measure that makes the business viable.
Precisely. So if standard Sora 2 feels a bit less polished, maybe the physics aren't quite as smooth, or the shorter clips look way better than the longer ones.
It's not necessarily bad tech.
Not necessarily. It might just be the reality of operational costs. They're trying to find that balance, Amazing results versus something they can actually afford to deliver. Hashtag tag 1.2, the iterative restricted rollout.
Okay, so cost is one factor. Now let's look at how they're actually releasing this thing. It's not your typical big tech launch, is it?
Not at all. It feels more like getting into some exclusive, slightly awkward club. Very restricted.
We called it the janky invitation system, but the official line is different. The sources say it's very deliberate.
Oh, absolutely calculated. The Sora 2 system card, their own documentation, calls it a safety-focused, iterative rollout strategy.
Iterative, safety-focused. That screams caution.
Extreme caution. Look at the initial limits. US and Canada only, right?
Right.
iOS only at first. And you need a premium subscription.
So right there, they're controlling the user base, smaller group, paying customers, easier platform to monitor maybe.
Exactly. It's easier to track behavior, understand usage patterns within a controlled environment.
But the weirdest part, the really counterintuitive thing, is the access limits changing over time.
This is wild, yeah. We found details saying that the amount of video you can generate, your quota, basically, will actually go down as more people join.
Which is the opposite of how launches usually work. Normally you scale up capacity to meet demand.
Scaling down generation power as demand rises. That tells you their main goal right now isn't just getting it into everyone's hands immediately.
It's something else.
It suggests the primary goal is careful data gathering. Watching how people use it in the real world. Finding those unexpected failure modes, the edge cases.
Before they open the floodgates.
Exactly. Control the input, control the output volume, monitor for misuse, see how it breaks, then scale.
So the janky system is actually like a phased safety protocol and a data collection strategy.
Seems very much like it. And tied into that is the API situation.
Right, no API at launch. That's a big deal for developers.
Huge signal. No API means they stop third parties from potentially overwhelming the system with automated prompts, maybe malicious ones, until OpenAI feels confident they've got the guardrails figured out internally.
They promised it's coming, though, in the coming weeks.
They did. But this whole slow, restricted pace, it feels very much like a calculated business decision driven by safety concerns. Minimize the initial potential harm, gather high-quality, monitored usage data first, hashtag tag 1.3 world models, and the training data trap.
Okay, let's talk about the model itself, the substance. There was that claim from a Sora 2 lead saying the model is intelligent in a way that we haven't seen.
Yeah, that it has the best world model.
Can you break that down? What does world model mean in this AI context,
Right.
especially thinking about HES?
Sure. A world model basically means the AI has learned the underlying rules of the reality it's trying to simulate. So for text AI, it's grammar, logic, how arguments flow. For a video model, a good world model means things behave consistently. Light reflects properly. Objects don't just vanish when they go off screen and reappear weirdly. Physics looks plausible.
So claiming the best world model is a pretty huge statement. It implies a big step towards that general understanding.
Massive claim.
Yeah.
But like we said earlier, comparing these things definitively is almost impossible right now. You've got Sora 2, Sora 2 Pro, Google's V3 in different flavors, maybe a V3.1 coming.
It's a mess to benchmark properly. The landscape shifts too fast, and it's deliberately murky sometimes.
And that brings us right back to the absolute fundamental thing about all these big models. Sora, VO, Gemini, ChatGPT, doesn't matter.
What's that?
They are all fundamentally, deeply, almost totally dependent on their training data. It's the training data trap.
Okay, explain the trap. How does that data dependence explain what Sora 2 can do? Maybe there's amazing cyberpunk scenes.
Right. It means if a model generates, say, incredible cyberpunk visuals, it doesn't automatically mean it's getting some universal understanding of physics or sci-fi aesthetics. It probably means it was fed an absolutely enormous amount of cyberpunk-specific data. Our sources strongly suggest that for those scenes, OpenAI likely ingested just tons and tons of game footage, maybe developer commentary, walkthroughs, cinematic trailers, everything related to that specific game.
So it didn't invent the look and feel. It just got really good at mimicking what it was shown.
Exactly. It mastered the very specific, documented rules and style of that game because it saw so much of it. Train it for 1 million hours on Cyberpunk, it learns Cyberpunk.
And that same idea applies elsewhere, like why it might be better at anime than V3, for instance.
Precisely. If Sora 2 nails anime better, the simplest explanation isn't some artistic breakthrough. It's almost certainly targeted data acquisition. Maybe they got exclusive access to a library or just scraped specific high-quality anime sources more aggressively than Google did for V3. Data, data, data.
Got it. And let's quickly circle back to the economics we touched on, the cost structure. You mentioned output tokens cost more than input tokens.
Yeah, this is crucial for understanding the whole pro versus standard thing and the overall cost.
Why the difference?
Well, the input, the text prompt you type in, that's relatively cheap computationally. The AI reads it, parses it quick.
Okay.
But the output, generating the video, that's where the cost explodes. Creating potentially millions of new pixels frame after frame, ensuring consistency, motion, that requires running these massive, complex neural networks at full tilt.
So the actual creation part is the heavy lifting.
Exponentially more demanding than just understanding the request, and that massive computational cost for the output. That's exactly why they need different tiers, like the Pro version, and why they ultimately have to charge significantly for heavy usage. It reflects the actual resources being consumed. Hashtag tag tag 1.4 physics, realism, and the visual Turing test.
Okay, cost is clear, data dependence makes sense. But still, the visuals, they are undeniably impressive. Online, people were saying Sora 2 has mastered physics.
Yeah, that claim went everywhere. The hype cycle in full effect.
Is it holding up, though, when people really look closely?
The expert analysis is pretty skeptical about full physics mastery.
Yeah.
That always gets overstated. There was one specific video, right, that a Sora lead pointed to as the prime example.
The basketball hoop one. Person bouncing off it.
That's the one. Touted as showing complex physics understanding.
Does it? Well, when analysts break it down frame by frame, the physics look off, the way the person bounces, the momentum, how things deform. It looks, as one person put it, more video gamey than real.
Stylized. Cinematic maybe, but not quite real-world physics.
Exactly. Highly impressive simulation. Looks cool, but it doesn't quite capture the messy, detailed reality of forces and materials interacting. It lacks that granular chaos.
So it's good enough for a movie trailer, maybe, but not a perfect physics engine.
Pretty much. But here's the thing. Does good enough realism, like we see in cutting-edge video games now, still cause problems for telling what's real?
Absolutely it does. Yeah. So we have to say, technically, Sora 2 probably hasn't passed the visual Turing test for a really critical eye. You can still find flaws, weird textures, slight inconsistencies if you look hard enough.
Yes.
But it's pushing us closer than anything else before it. And commercially, if it looks real enough to fool, say 95% of people watching casually, or if the remaining 5% just don't care because it looks cool or tells a good story.
Then it's achieved its goal, right? Regardless of perfect physics.
Exactly. The commercial goal might not be perfect replication. It might just be perfect persuasion. It's a huge advance, no doubt. But it's not the final word on simulating physical reality.
Perfect persuasion.
Oh.
That's a really good way to frame it. Okay, let's pivot now, away from the tech specs, more towards the business strategy, because this, I think, is where things get really interesting, maybe even surprising.
The social media app.
Yeah, OpenAI isn't just dropping a tool, they're building a whole social platform around Sora, too. That feels risky, given the history of AI and content feeds.
Extremely risky. And you can bet Sam Altman and the team know it. They've seen the backlash against what people call the degenerate case of AI video.
The slop feed.
Right. That fear of creating these hyper-optimized, maybe addictive, low-quality content streams just designed to keep you scrolling. We saw Meta get hammered for trying things like vibes.
So OpenAI has to actively fight that perception. They need to make this app feel different.
Aggressively different. And they're doing it not just with policies, but with actual design features baked into the app.
Like what? What specific things are they doing to avoid this slop feed trap?
Well, for starters, a big one.
Yeah.
No infinite scroll for users under 18.
Wow, okay. That directly attacks the core mechanism of a lot of addictive apps.
Exactly. It's a deliberate choice to break that pattern. They also say the app will actively nudge users towards creating things rather than just passively consuming videos.
Framing it as a tool first, social feed second.
Kind of, yeah. Tool-centric.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole authenticity and control piece. How do you know what you're even looking at when anything can be generated?
Watermarks.
Mandatory watermarks, yes. Both visible ones you can see, and crucially, invisible cryptographic ones embedded in the video file itself.
For tracing it back.
For forensic traceability. To know where it came from, maybe even the prompt used. Plus, they're classifying inputs blocking certain prompts. And maybe the most significant step.
Go on.
They're running the outputs, the generated videos, through another AI model, a reasoning model, before they're shown to anyone.
Whoa. So an AI checks the AI's work for safety or appropriateness before it even gets displayed.
Seems like it. A serious layer of automated moderation or gatekeeping on the output itself.
That's intense. And there's also that current limitation on what you can feed it, right?
Correct. Right now at launch, you can't just upload an existing photo and turn it into a video, or feed it one video to change it into another.
Image to video and video to video are blocked in the app.
For now. It's clearly a safety measure to prevent the easiest forms of deep faking existing people or content right out of the gate. It limits the creative options initially, but ramps up the safety. Hashtag tag tag 2.2 DAO, the unique cameo feature for likeness control.
Okay, but the absolute standout feature, the one that really feels unique and connects directly to their strategy, is this cameo thing.
Ah, yes, Cameo.
Yeah.
This is their big answer to the deepfake problem, and it's unlike anything else out there right now.
How does it work? It's not just uploading a selfie, right?
No, definitely not.
And
That's the old dangerous way that leads to easy abuse. Cameo forces a proper verification step.
Verification how?
You actually have to record yourself on video saying specific phrases the system gives you. Random phrases, changing each time probably.
Like a liveness test, but with voice matching too.
Exactly. It proves it's really you in real time, and you consent. It's like a cryptographic proof of life tied to your face and voice, only after you do that successfully.
Then you can use your face in the AI videos.
Then you can enable the Cameo feature to put your verified likeness into generated videos. And you can also choose to share that verified likeness with specific friends on the app, so they can use it too, with your permission.
We saw those demos with Sam Altman's face perfectly inserted.
Yeah.
This is the mechanism that allows that, but critically, it requires his active verification first.
Precisely. The goal is to make unauthorized deepfakes using this tool practically impossible. And it gives you, the user, total control. You can apparently even revoke access later or delete videos friends made using your likeness if you change your mind.
That feels significant, given how easy it is to make basic deepfakes now.
It's huge. The bar for deepfakes is terrifyingly low right now. So OpenAI setting this kind of robust identity verification standard, it's not just good practice. It's potentially setting a new, much higher bar for the entire industry for user-generated AI content. Commendable, really.
So this level of control, this focus on identity, it leads us to maybe the most ambitious claim OpenAI is making about this whole thing, especially for a social media app.
The net benefit promise.
Yeah, Sam Altman made this really explicit, almost philosophical commitment about the app's impact.
It's pretty wild, honestly. Unprecedented for a tech launch, especially social media, which usually gets blamed for the opposite. Altman basically said that the majority of users, looking back after 6 months of using Sora, should feel their life is genuinely better because they used it, compared if they hadn't.
Better, not just entertained or distracted.
Yeah.
Better. That's a massive claim and a self-imposed benchmark.
Huge. And he attached a serious consequence to it, an ultimatum, really.
What was the ultimatum?
He said if that condition, the net benefit, verifiable somehow isn't met, they'll make significant changes to the app. And then he added, if they can't fix it to meet that standard, they would discontinue offering the service entirely. Just shut it down.
Shut down a potentially massive product based on a subjective net benefit metric. That's bold.
It's incredibly bold. It's clearly an attempt to get ahead of the ethical criticism, to frame this as a responsible launch of a powerful, potentially dangerous technology.
Okay, but let's be critical here. We have to be, right? Given OpenAI's history, should we just take this promise at face value?
Skepticism is warranted, absolutely.
Yeah.
You look back at OpenAI's origins, the nonprofit ideals, the initial talk about embracing regulation.
Right. They were very pro-regulation at first.
And then as they became more commercial, more competitive, that stance shifted. They hired lobbyists. Reports came out about them working against certain regulations that might slow them down.
So the reality of needing to compete and make money can sometimes erode those initial ideals.
It often does. And besides the track record, there's the metric itself. Net benefit. How on earth do you measure that objectively?
It's incredibly vague. Does it mean less lonely, more creative, better job prospects?
Exactly. It's so fuzzy, it becomes almost impossible to prove or disprove definitively, which cynically makes it easy to argue you are meeting the goal, even if the reality is mixed.
So while the promise sounds great,
we have to watch what actually happens. It's a laudable goal, but history suggests promises like these can get bent or broken when faced with market pressures or the difficulty of truly measuring impact. Hashtag 2.4, the moat strategy, business sense.
Okay, so let's put the pieces together from a business angle. The tech is amazing, but as we discussed, competitors will catch up, maybe even leapfrog, and prices will likely fall.
Yep, the commodity race is real in AI video.
They've also put all these safety constraints on themselves and made this hard-to-measure ethical promise. So why? Why build the social app at all? Why not just be a tool provider, sell API access?
Because the app is the moat. It's a brilliant, almost necessary strategic move to protect their investment and ensure long-term viability.
Explain the moat. How does the app create that protection?
Think about it. Right now, if you're just using an AI video tool, your loyalty is zero. Sora 2 looks cool today. Tomorrow, maybe Google's VO 3.1 looks better or it's cheaper, or maybe some new startup, Kling 2.5, comes along. You just switch, easy.
No friction.
Zero friction. But if OpenAI builds a social network around Sora...
Ah, network effects.
Exactly. Suddenly, it's not just about the tech, it's about where your friends are. If your friends are all on the Sora app, sharing creations, collaborating, you feel pressure to be there too. That's classic social media lock-in.
And the Cameo feature turbocharges that lock-in.
It's the killer app for the moat. If you want to safely put your verified face into videos, and especially if you want to collaborate with friends using their verified faces.
Sora becomes the only place you can do that easily and securely.
Precisely. The Cameo feature, tied to identity verification, becomes the unique value proposition that competitors can't easily replicate without building their own trust and verification system. It locks you into the Sora ecosystem.
So your own face, your verified likeness, becomes the platform's proprietary asset, in a way.
In a functional sense, yes. They've cleverly turned a potentially commodifiable technology video generation into a sticky social utility anchored by personal identity. It ensures they keep users, gather unique data, and can monetize effectively, even if another company releases a technically similar video model next month. The moat isn't the pixels. It's the people and their verified presence. Smart business.
Okay, let's zoom back out now. Think about the bigger picture again. AGI. Artificial General Intelligence.
The ultimate goal for some.
A Bolden AI explicitly claims Sora 2 is a step towards a generalist agent. And, well, they kind of have to say that, right? Their whole company mission is literally building AGI.
It aligns with the corporate narrative, absolutely. But we need to assess that claim critically based on what Sora actually does.
So how does it stack up against the definition of AGI, which is what an AI that can learn and apply intelligence across many different tasks, like a human?
Broadly, yes. And Sora 2 does push boundaries in areas relevant to AGI, like understanding 3D space, simulating interactions, maintaining consistency over time.
Yeah.
Those are important pieces. But when you look at the really fundamental challenges in AGI research, the stuff holding us back from a true general intelligence, Sora 2 starts to feel a bit more like a really impressive side quest.
A side quest? Explain that analogy.
Like in a video game. It's a cool mission. You learn stuff. You get experience points in this case, better simulation, better visual understanding, which are valuable. But it might not be directly on the main path to the final boss, which is true. Flexible, general problem-solving intelligence.
So if Sora 2 is this amazing digital simulation side quest, what does the main quest for AGI look like right now? Where's the core bottleneck that needs solving?
The main quest, according to many researchers, involves tackling the biggest remaining hurdle. AI models are currently passive. They just sit and wait.
Wait for us to give them prompts, data, instructions.
Exactly. They react. They don't proactively go out into the world, explore, run experiments, learn from trial and error in the physical environment. They lack intrinsic motivation or agency in the real world.
And that's where something like Periodic Labs comes in, as a counterpoint.
Periodic Labs is almost the perfect counterpoint. It highlights the other direction AGI research needs to go. They just got massive funding, $300 million, co-founded by people who left Google DeepMind and even OpenAI itself.
Okay, so what's their mission? Why is it the polar opposite of Sora 2?
Because their entire focus is on automating science and discovery in the physical world. Real labs, real chemicals, real experiments. Exploration and discovery, not just generation.
So if Sora 2 simulates digital physics...
Periodic Labs wants AI to actually do physical chemistry and lab work autonomously.
That addresses a huge bottleneck in science, right? Human limitations, speed, cost.
Precisely. Science is often slow, painstaking manual work. Periodic Labs is tackling this with basically three main approaches they're developing.
Okay, what's the first one?
First is closing the loop between prediction and action, using advanced AI, deep learning, to predict the outcome or yield of, say, a complex chemical reaction needed for a new battery material.
AI makes the prediction.
And then, crucially, that prediction is handed off to actual robots, humanoid robots, specialized lab equipment that physically perform the experiment based on the AI's plan. Autonomously, maybe 247.
Wow. So the AI designs, the robot executes, the AI learns from the real-world result. A super fast feedback loop.
Exactly. Hyper-accelerated science. That's solution one. Automation and robotics.
What's the second solution? You mentioned data earlier.
Right. The second bottleneck is data access. There are mountains, terabytes of incredibly valuable scientific data from decades of past experiments.
Just locked up.
Locked up in old PDFs, handwritten notes, weird incompatible database formats, stuff current AI models just can't easily read or learn from.
Yeah.
So Periodic Labs is undertaking this massive effort to gather all that legacy data and convert it into a clean, standardized, LLM-friendly format.
They're building the ultimate training data set for physical science.
Pretty much. Indexing humanity's experimental history for AI. A monumental task.
Okay, automation data. Well, what's the third piece?
The third piece addresses human researcher overload. There are just too many papers published every day for anyone to keep up with.
Information overload.
Totally. So they're building AI models specifically designed for scientific literature review. An AI that can read everything being published globally, synthesize it, identify knowledge gaps, and even suggest the most promising next experiment to run.
Like an AI research assistant pointing the way. Towards better solar cells? Or maybe even room temperature superconductors?
That's the dream. Finding those breakthroughs faster by having AI guide the experimental focus. So you see the contrast. Periodic Labs is physical, it's exploratory, it's about interacting with and learning from the real world. The absolute polar opposite of Sora 2's brilliant but purely digital generation. Hashtag 3.3, the coding supremacy race. Claude 4.5 Sonnet.
Fascinating contrast. Okay, let's swing back to the digital world for a moment, but shift focus from video to another key area. Coding, because while Sora was grabbing headlines, Anthropic made a big move too.
Claude 4.5 Sonnet.
Yeah, they dropped that, claiming it's now the world's best AI for coding.
Aggressive claim, but coding is a great test bed for AI intelligence because you can measure performance pretty objectively. And the early results for Sonnet 4.5 are looking really strong.
What kind of results are we seeing?
Well, on one well-respected benchmark, Simple Bench, it hit 54% accuracy with its thinking-enabled feature turned on.
Okay, unpack Simple Bench for us. What does it test, and why is 54% significant?
Simple Bench throws complex, novel coding problems at the AI, things that require real logic, problem-solving, algorithm design, not just spitting out common code snippets it memorized. It tests deeper understanding. And hitting 54%, that puts it right up there performance-wise with Anthropic's previous top model, Claude 4.1 Opus.
Opus was the big, expensive flagship model, right?
Exactly. So Sonnet 4.5 is achieving roughly the same level of coding capability as the flagship.
And here's the kicker, the price is way different.
This is the absolutely critical point, and it's maybe the most reliable pattern in AI right now. Sonnet 4.5 performs as well as, or on some tests like Bench Verified, even better than Opus 4.1. Yet,
Much cheaper.
it's around 5 times cheaper to run than Opus 4.1. 5 times.
Wow.
And this isn't a fluke. This is the pattern we've seen consistently for the last few years.
Explain the pattern. The tech leap, followed by the price drop.
Okay, so a company releases a major breakthrough model, think GPT-4 or Claude Opus. It sets a new standard for capability. And initially, it's expensive. High R&D costs, resource intensive to run.
Makes sense.
Then, typically just a few months later, maybe 6 months, they release a new optimized model, like Sonnet 4.5. This new model manages to achieve the performance of the previous flagship, but through clever optimization or architectural improvements, they can offer it at the price point of the previous generation's mid-tier model.
So today's cutting-edge performance becomes tomorrow's affordable standard.
Exactly. The price of top-tier capability dropped dramatically, making it accessible. And this cycle repeats across text, images, coding.
It almost certainly applies to video, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sora 2 is the big technical leap right now, setting the benchmark. But based on this pattern, it's almost guaranteed that within, say, 3 to 6 months, another company, maybe Google, maybe a startup, will release a video model that's just as good as Sora 2.
But cheaper.
Probably significantly cheaper, and maybe with fewer restrictions, trying to undercut OpenAI on access and cost.
So Sora 2's technical lead might be temporary.
Very likely temporary.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to the moat strategy. Their long-term profitability probably depends more on that social app lock-in via Cameo than on maintaining a permanent technical edge in video quality itself. The price collapse for raw generation is coming.
Okay, so the tech is moving fast, competition is fierce, prices will likely drop. Given that, especially thinking about that Cameo feature and verified likeness, what's the immediate, maybe slightly unsettling future look like for just watching stuff or media?
Yeah, the sources suggest we're heading towards a level of media personalization that goes way beyond just like Netflix recommending shows you might like. It seems almost inevitable, technologically, that within maybe 2 to 4 years, we'll see features that let you seamlessly insert yourself into the content you're watching.
Wait, literally put my face onto a character in a movie.
Pretty much. Imagine your TV remote has a button, Insert Likeness. You press it. The system uses your stored, verified Cameo-style face data and instantly maps it onto the actor playing the main character, or whichever character you choose, in the show or movie you're watching.
So if I'm watching, I don't know, a space opera.
You are now the starship captain. If you're watching a rom-com, you're the romantic lead.
Wow. Okay. Suddenly every streaming service becomes literally all about you.
Exactly. The potential for engagement is off the charts, right? The story always involves you directly.
The commercial appeal is obvious,
Right.
but the psychological impact, sociological impact.
Deeply complex. It kind of bypasses the need for imaginative projection. It makes fiction feel intensely personal, maybe blurring lines between story and self in weird ways. But technically, it feels like a direct consequence of the likeness control tech. Sora 2 is pioneering. That's the near-term future it enables. Hashtag 4.2, crushing the sensory benchmarks.
Okay, that's the near future, maybe 2 to 4 years out. But thinking longer term, more philosophically, where does this whole AGI journey ultimately lead? If we think about it not just visually, but through all our senses.
That's a great way to frame it. We can think of each human sense as representing a kind of benchmark, a Turing test, that AI is progressively aiming to, well, crush.
Okay, so what have we crushed already?
We're arguably past the written Turing test, right? AI conversation can be indistinguishable from human conversation in many contexts.
Yeah, seems like it.
Sora 2, as we discussed, is pushing us incredibly close to passing the visual Turing test, creating video that, at least casually, looks like reality.
So sight is getting close. What's next on the sensory roadmap?
Well, logically, sound, the audio Turing test.
Meaning?
AI generating music, voices, entire sound environments that are completely indistinguishable from real recordings. Manipulating our auditory reality perfectly, that seems achievable relatively soon.
Okay, sight, sound. Then it gets weirder.
Then it gets much more profound. We move towards what you might call the semantic sensory system test. Touch, feeling, physical interaction.
Define that, semantic sensory system test.
It means moving beyond just showing us things to making us feel them. Creating artificial worlds that interface with our nervous system directly, allowing us to, say, feel the texture of virtual objects, the warmth of virtual fire, the impact of virtual collisions.
Like the ultimate VR, but with actual physical sensation.
Exactly, a full sensory immersion. Yeah. And that requires the AI to have an incredibly deep understanding of physics, materials, thermodynamics, the very things periodic labs is trying to get AI to learn in the real world, but applied here to generate convincing sensory simulations.
So if AI conquers sight, sound, and touch, what's left? Smell and taste.
The final frontiers, perhaps. The olfactory and gustatory Turing tests. Can AI generate signals that perfectly mimic the experience of smelling a rose or tasting chocolate by directly stimulating the right neural pathways?
When AI can fool all the senses.
When it can generate novel chemical compounds or neural signals that trigger indistinguishable sensory experiences, then the deception, or the creation, is complete.
Which leads to the ultimate philosophical question, really.
Which is?
What happens when AI can build entire worlds from the ground up in real time that are indistinguishable from our perceived reality according to every single human sense?
That's a heavy question.
It is. And looking back from that potential future, today's Sora 2 release, it's not just a cool video tool, it's one single, incredibly significant step on that fascinating, exciting, and maybe treacherous path toward potentially manufacturing reality itself. Hashtag outro.
Wow, okay, so bringing it all together then, this Sora 2 launch, it really feels defined by this duality, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
On one hand, undeniably groundbreaking tech, truly impressive video generation, cutting-edge stuff.
But on the other hand, it's wrapped in this incredibly savvy, maybe even necessary business and safety strategy. The social app, the Cameo feature, building that protective moat based on identity.
Yep, tech and strategy are completely intertwined here.
And all of this digital wizardry is happening while in parallel, you have groups like Periodic Labs tackling the much messier, arguably more fundamental AGI problem of real-world interaction and discovery.
That contrast is crucial context, the digital versus the physical approach to intelligence.
So for you listening, the big takeaway seems to be, yes, Sora 2 is amazing. The potential uses for filmmakers, designers, maybe training other AIs in simulation, they're huge.
No question, the utility is massive.
But we have to stay really aware of the other side of the coin, the risk of slipping into these increasingly convincing digital realities where maybe distinguishing truth from fabrication becomes incredibly difficult, if not impossible, even if it looks perfect.
That risk of the perfectly persuasive simulation is very real.
Which loops us back perfectly to that central promise, or maybe gamble, from Sam Altman, that ethical constraint.
The net benefit promise.
Yeah, if OpenAI somehow pulls it off, if they actually make Sora the first social platform ever that demonstrably makes most users' lives better after 6 months, that would be historic.
Truly revolutionary if they can genuinely achieve and prove it.
But the provocative thought to leave you with is, if they don't meet that goal, if the net benefit isn't there, or if it's negative, how would we even know for sure? When the very tools themselves are designed to be so visually and maybe eventually sensually convincing, how do we trust our own judgment about whether this manufactured experience is actually good for us? How do we know when we're being persuaded versus benefited?